Okay, welcome to another episode of Ex-Vicarious. I'm Braith, and today I'm joined by Scott Harrison. So, Scott is a people person. He learned how to read people, handle pressure, talk his way out of trouble on the rough streets of Glasgow growing up. And then he took these communication skills into his career through roles such as being the director of Hayes Recruitment's Auckland office, global lead boardroom negotiator, and more recently as the founder of Apex Negotiations. So he's helped over 150 leaders across the world master the art of negotiation. But today we will delve into another one of his talents. If you're in Singapore, you may have seen Scott waltzing the streets with a cameraman. But if not, you're likely one of the people that see his video posts, seeing as he gets over 1 million impressions on many of them. But more importantly, making engaging LinkedIn videos has compelled leaders to slide into Scott's DMs to learn how to negotiate from him. And I slid into Scott's DMs myself to learn about his process with making these effective videos. So, Scott, how are you going today?
Good, and thanks for having me. Nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for waking up nice and early to join me from Singapore. So, I just wanted to start off by asking you, when did you start making LinkedIn videos? How long did it take for your first one to blow up?
It's a good question, Braith. So I've actually started, if you went to my LinkedIn and you look back, I started putting videos onto LinkedIn the best part of 1 year ago.
Hmm.
And I put quite a lot of videos on, and every single one of them tanked. They
Right.
just absolutely tanked. Right? There was no engagement, no impressions. They just did terrible. And then I figured out at that point, LinkedIn's not for video. Right? It's not going to work. So I left it and I
Right.
went back to writing posts, etc. Then about maybe 2 months ago or something, in the past couple of months, when they started talking about doing video on LinkedIn, I thought, right, great, I'm going to try this again. And I put my first video on and just got a certain medium level of engagement. Then I put my next video on, video number two. And
Yeah.
just to make that clear, video number two, doing 3.5 million impressions.
Wow.
Right? And what to just make clear as well, though, Braith, as well, know, like LinkedIn likes don't pay the bills, and virality, engagement, it doesn't equal any sort of success. But if you're getting a high amount of impressions, then people are seeing your content,
Yeah.
and therefore more eyes on it means more people contacting you, and
Mm.
they contacted me. Right? So I was okay, I'm going to try another one, and bang, the next one got 2.5 million impressions. And I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And everything on me, I haven't done a video since I started doing videos again that have got any less than, I think, 1.3 million impressions is the lowest. So, but what happens then is people are seeing you and if they're genuinely resonating with them, they're contacting you.
Yeah.
When I was, see, before I was active in LinkedIn, you can see I was writing posts. You know, unpopular opinion here, and love me or hate me, writing posts does not drive a large volume of people to contact you inquiring about this is if you was it. I
Hmm.
was writing, took courses on writing posts, I did boot camps, which were all great, fantastic. But video was a game changer for me. The minute I started doing video, my entire business changed. So in answer to your question, it took 1 week for my first video to blow up.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I wanted to ask, was there actually any difference in the style between the first and second video you made, either in the way you shot it or the editing style?
Big difference, big. So the first videos I did were, the first videos was like this. So I
Mm.
would sit down and I would talk, like, well, let's just call it a talking headshot.
Yeah.
I mean, quite a lot of them were sitting right here in this position with this mic. I think some even with headphones. When I came round to doing it again, I thought, right, what is my purpose for making video, right? Obviously, I'm a service provider, right? You're saying in quote, people in negotiations and communications. So I want to generate leads and build connections with the right people. But before that objective, I genuinely want to give my community something valuable. So when
Mm,
making the videos, my first objective was give value to my community, give them
yeah,
something that they can actionable takeaways, things they might not know. You'll talk to their pain points and their problems.
yeah,
And then on that note, I thought, well, I want to be engaging. So the last time Hobbies Talking Headshots, that's not my personality. It's not Scott. I'm quite anybody who knows me, I'm quite an animated character. It's just my personality. I think from being in the people business my whole life, always
yeah.
being in situations where you're dealing with people and emotions. So I thought, how do I bring that out in video? And this is like hand on heart, this is the way it happened. I thought, right, I'm not going to script any videos, not a single video is scripted. I'm going to take my camera and my microphone and just wherever I go, when the opportunity arises, I'm going to try and make videos. But this is the key thing when you talk about the style. What I wanted to do, right? So when making videos, I'm sure you're aware of they say, right, you can do educational videos, you can
Mm,
do day in the life videos, that type of thing.
yeah, yeah.
So I thought, well, what if you blended them?
Mm,
What if you did a video of, right, just say the topic is empathy and negotiations, just as an example. What if I do the topic empathy and negotiations and I'm in an environment that's got absolutely nothing to do with the topic, zero connection? This was my thought. Was I thought,
mm,
would that be engaging? Would people at first be like, why is he eating breakfast talking about negotiations? Like, because that's the type of videos I do, as you've seen, just
yeah,
sitting cracking my head and eating my eggs and talking about, or you mean like one of my best performing videos was walking around the Decathlon, the sports shop,
mm,
talking about strategic silence, just walking around the Decathlon, kicking footballs and basketballs and things like that. But the point is, for my personality, it worked. The audience liked it, people liked the change of scenery, they liked that it wasn't. I can't speak for everyone, and I'm not saying that talking headshots are not successful for people, but my own personal belief in that talking headshots can be quite boring for people on a short form video. Different for a podcast like this, where we're talking and we're engaged in a lengthy conversation. And you don't want too much visual distraction. You want to focus
mm,
on what Braith and Scott are saying. If you're in a 60-second video and you want it to be punchy, the points,
yeah,
that's what I done. I just thought, I'm going to go out and wherever I go, I'm taking the camera and I'm just going to film in the most random places. As you can see, that's what I do. And I
yeah,
kind of got known for it. I've become known as that Scottish guy that's always in random places. But hey, Braith, I've been kicked out of places as well, you know.
Wait, who's kicked you
Mm.
out?
I've been kicked out of a place last. The video that just went out yesterday, and filming
Yeah,
that, got kicked out of the building. All the security came down and everything. They were checking my camera to make sure they hadn't taken any footage. I was like,
yeah.
guys, I'm sorry, I was just making a video for link.
No, that's actually happened to me and one of my clients. We were shooting in like the city area, and I think it was like the escalator up to a like pretty big corporate offices. but it was just a very nice escalator. So we were shooting there, and then the security guard comes in. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" They thought we were trying to do something dodgy, but we're really just trying to create some LinkedIn videos and for him promote some AI software. So yeah, no, I get the experience. When you shoot out in public, it's very fun, super convenient, as you said. What I love about it is that it's really just the camera's following you wherever you're going. You're already going to go there, so may as well add value while you're there and talk about stuff you already know without scripting. I think it's awesome.
One quick thing and then a point, but
Yeah,
mine was also a corporate office that I get
yeah,
kicked out of. I wouldn't name the name, but it was a well-known company, and this was a very nice lobby. The lobby was
mm,
very nice, and it had a nice
exactly.
big
They got the best lobbies.
Christmas tree. But I believe myself, and I want to make myself the content. So, like you just said, if you get the camera following you around, as opposed to being culturated, setting up your lights, setting different for a podcast again. You want to set it up. It's got to be. But
Mm,
if you're doing short form videos, I don't like the curation. I like me to be the content. Just what am I doing? I'm just walking through the street talking to the camera. I'm sitting down eating breakfast. I think there was one where I was having a curry. It was at the house for a curry, and I thought I'm just gonna
yeah, spice things.
funny one because we got a comment. Someone says, literally, I'm unfollowing you because you're drinking Coke.
What?
Okay, what?
Why? What have they got against it?
Literally, a comment. I'm unfollowing you as soon as I saw the Coke. Because I'm sorry you don't like Coca-Cola, but I do it, man.
Yeah. No, it's funny. It's funny when you do video, you're obviously putting yourself out there a bit more, and people will find all sorts of reasons to find some negativity out of it. In this case, it was the Coke, which is that's hilarious.
What I find is I face a lot of accent bias. Like, the reason I
Mm,
use the word accent bias is because in negotiations, it should be called accent bias in
right.
negotiations.
Yeah. Okay.
But I get a lot of rude comments that it's because of my accent, and then
Mm,
there's subtitles on the video. If you can't understand my accent, you can read the subtitles. That's what they're there for.
ex-
But I do get people that leave comments that there's just no need. What language is she speaking? Is she speaking English? Right.
mm,
I'm Scottish, I've got an accent. But in general, I think people like the Scottish accent and it helps
yeah.
me. On to finish that point off. One of the reasons that I chose to do video, the main reason I chose to do video is because you hear on LinkedIn, everything's about authenticity and
Yeah.
vulnerability. That's the two main words that you hear on LinkedIn these days, authenticity, vulnerability. But it's easy to write a post I'm not saying anyone is doing this, but it's easy to make up stories that are not real, that don't exist. If you put yourself on video, I'm showing you the real me, the
Yeah.
way I speak, my facial expressions, the way I walk, my skinny legs, whatever it may be, and putting myself right out there, then you can't get any more vulnerable or any more
Exactly.
authentic than being in video. But what that's done as well, Braith, is it does draw people to you. I get DMs now coming in from companies, and I can assure you some of them are like large MNCs, and they watch the video and they like the style, they like your personality, or you're offering what it is they're looking for, and they slide into your DMs and they say, hey, can we have a call? And
Mm,
it's the video that's done it. I never got it when I was writing posts. Like, I rarely ever get any inbound leads writing posts. But since I started doing video, it's regular every week. I feel every time I put a video out, I'm guaranteed that I get X amount of inquiries coming in, and then I end up on calls. So,
yeah, I completely agree with that, and I've had the same experience. Like switching from text to video has basically changed my inbound from like 20 to 30 times, right? So it's, as you said, because you have to be so much more vulnerable in video, it really makes people trust you more because you're so much more authentic. So I think it's interesting because the whole vulnerable aspect of being on video is what makes people scared to start. But it's just
Yeah.
like if you can conquer that fear and put yourself out there, just try it a couple times and see the positive, like the positive response that comes from it. You'll see how big the reward is. It's really worth taking that leap, even if people are a bit scared at the start.
See, that's a very good point, Graves. And if I was to give anybody a suggestion on that, it's firstly what you said is correct. Don't try to be perfect. Just record it. Like, I don't mean like just record and talk nonsense. Think about what you want to say. Think about the message. So I don't script my videos, but I do think, right, okay, what do I want? What's the message that the problem that I think someone might be facing? Right? How do I structure that? If I was to speak about that, sure, I run through it in my head, obviously, but then I just record, as you've seen, and that's the suggestion I would give to people. Beat the cringe. Don't feel cringy. I go out in public, people are staring at me. I'm walking
Mm.
around this I'm walking around this supermarket with someone following me with a camera and I just don't care. Like, because I'm having fun doing it. Then yes, I feel cringy, yes, I feel embarrassed, but it's for the greater good.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the greater good for everyone. And I wanted to shift the topic now a little bit towards negotiations. I actually wanted to ask you, what is the most stressful negotiation you've ever been a part of, and how did you navigate it?
There's been a few, and I've got something in mind, but before I say that, I would just like to explain that everybody automatically thinks of negotiation as a deal. You're negotiating a deal, but negotiations can be in any manner of things. I've been in a negotiation where I won't mention the names, but it was one of the world's oil and super majors. It was $1 billion deal. It was like the things with TV, Bill P, and 12 of them. There's just me and my colleagues sitting there. Like, thing went on for months. But I've also been in negotiations where it's been negotiating to keep people's jobs and trying not get them paid off, or or negotiating. Negotiation isn't just always about money, but you're seeing the most stressful one I've ever been in. So, and I'll try and keep names out of it just for anonymity, but there's like a
Yeah.
mid-sized tech company. This was a Singaporean mid-sized tech company. They were being pursued for an acquisition by an American sort of conglomerate.
Mm.
And the negotiation was quite a stressful one because what it was going to result in was potential job losses. A couple of hundred people. I can't remember the
Right.
exact number, right? And during that negotiation, there was a lot of conflicting corporate cultures because you had the Singaporeans, you had the Scottish, you had the American. The American are different to the Singaporeans think and negotiate.
Mm.
So you've got job losses that you're trying to prevent if this acquisition goes through. They were wanting to make job losses and the people selling, you had conflicting cultures. There was the obvious significant difference in valuation. So the people wanting to acquire not agreeing with the valuation of the company, and the people
Mm.
selling the company saying, no, this is valuation. And there's a lot of personal reputation, where there's reputations of key executives at stake here. So CEOs and COOs, there's a lot of pride there and reputation. Founders, investors, people don't always realise just how many people are involved in a negotiation. I often get people, and I've had it in common as well, where they've got this idea that negotiation is like Scott and Brave negotiating. Quite often in negotiating teams, it's like 4 or 5 on one side, 4 or 5 on the other side, and the legal counsel's in, and the CEO's in, and the VC's in, whatever it may be. There's a lot of people involved, and they've all got different interests. they've all got different objectives. So it's not as clear cut. When people say it's all about a win, well, yes, that's correct. But it's difficult to get a win when eight
Yeah.
different people have eight different objectives. But the main the main stressors in that brace were obviously there's a lot of emotional tension, right? The founder of the Singaporean tech company was deeply attached to his company and its independent identity. Guy had spent 6, 7 years building this, blood, sweat and tears. So you can imagine the attachment he's got. The people who wanted to acquire the company, their sort of leadership team, they were aggressively pursuing it. And they knew a good deal, right? They knew that this was going to be a good product, right? And then the employees were very anxious about their future. So the Singaporean employees, the fairly large team, they were all worried about getting laid off and paid off because if the company goes to America, what happens to them?
Yeah.
So it was, I won't name the names of the companies, but I do remember this part. The initial valuation gap was the company wanted to sell for $250 million. And the conglomerate, as I would call it, the VC on the other side, they were offering 180 million. And I'll
Yeah.
never
Wow.
forget. I'll never forget the numbers. The numbers stick in my mind like they're engraved. They wanted 250 and they wanted to pay 180. And the cultural differences, like the Singaporean company, they valued innovation and workplace flexibility because it was a homegrown company. It was really grassroots. As the American company, which, as I say, were a larger conglomerate, they're very well known for having a strict hierarchical structure, and they were all about cost cutting and working lean.
Yeah.
So where you've got this two competing imbalances, where one company wants X amount of money, the other company wants to pay less. One company values innovation and workplace flexibility, a flat structure, autonomy, psychological safety. The other companies, your typical big, hard corporate, hierarchical, want to cost cut, stay lean. So now we're in a negotiation. So the way I was brought in to help as a strategic advisor for the Singaporean company, they'd
Yeah.
hired me to help. So I was training or coaching the company negotiation. I was in the negotiation. I was doing the negotiation for them.
Yeah.
And the first thing I done was work on the sort of emotional management because from everything I've just said before, if you actually think about it, Braith, there's a lot of emotions going around there. Right? There's a lot of impulsion, there's a lot of feelings of resentment and different things. So I was making sure that everyone was actually properly active listening to each other because the first thing that I noticed was people weren't actively listening to each other and you can miss important details.
Yeah.
Was ensuring from our side, so forget the people that want to acquire it, like they need to find their own processes, but from our side, I was making sure that the founder and the owners were keeping a calm, measured tone, right? Like making sure, because that calm, measured tone is very important. And then making sure that you're acknowledging the emotional undercurrents, right? So without becoming emotionally reactive, and you might wonder, why does he keep talking about emotions? Because that's the thing that's going to blow the deal apart. When you become impulsive and you become reactive, you say something you regret or you say something that, right? So it's just stay calm, manage your emotions. I think I video with this recently. Separate your personal feelings from the actual objectives, the professional objectives. So your personal feelings, you're feeling like you're getting undervalued, you're feeling like they're going to screw your people over. You need to separate those feelings altogether. They really just focus on the objectives. What is the objective here? It's to make sure that the acquisition goes through, that it's timely, that we save as many jobs as possible, focus on the objectives, remove your emotions out of it. And
Hmm.
then that brings you to the point. There's a difference in the pricing. So you've got to create value beyond the price, right? So it's negotiating non-monetary terms, like that thing I said, the job security guarantee. We wanted to make sure you buy, acquire this company, X amount of people are guaranteed to keep their job. No one brought it up before. I brought it up. I was on board for a guy from the other side. I wanted retention bonuses. I wanted people to get bonuses.
Hmm.
We wanted to ensure that the people they could get. So if it was an acquisition, what we were negotiating for was that an operation would remain in Singapore. Yeah, you can take it to America, you can replicate it to here, but you still keep Singapore arm. That keeps
Yeah.
running, right? That was one of the things that I was telling the thing that don't just tell your company what to do is make sure that you keep Singapore branch and you stay on as a CEO for 2 to 3 years or whatever. Saying
Right.
that's the way you remain in control, and that's the way. So he wanted those leadership positions for the key executives in autonomous operating structure. These are all things that you need to pre-plan, you need to prepare in advance. So job security guarantees, retention bonuses, making sure leadership positions for the main executives stayed, and demonstrating that the deal can be a win, like show the other side that we can still come to a win agreement here.
Hmm.
But basically, we had to develop multiple scenarios and contingency plans. So I went over with founders of the company. We need to look at all the scenarios. We need to look at everything that can go wrong and create a contingency plan so that no matter what we get, you're right. If you had me talking about in one of my videos, like I seen Nicholas Taleb, a guy done a lot of research years ago, and he developed the technique of the black swans. I
Yeah.
think some other people adopted that, and
Yeah.
it was Nicholas Nassim Taleb that developed it, and
Yeah.
it about improbable events, unexpected events, things that you would never imagine happening. If you go into a negotiation, you've planned for the most bizarre things that you would never expect, then you're ready. Then when it
Hmm.
happens, you're okay. You're not blindsided. So yeah, we just done a lot of contingency planning. See, when you're communicating in these situations, right, the communication's the most important part. Everyone thinks it's about the tactics and the techniques, but it's the communication. Use we language. You want to seem collaborative, right? So you want them to think it's not you against me. So breathe. If we can agree on this, or breathe, if we do this, hey, it's more collaborative. Asking
Hmm.
a lot of open-ended questions, always validating the other party's perspectives, even if you don't agree with them.
Hmm.
Okay, and totally understand what you're saying, Braith, and I can see the logic in that. I'm not fully in agreement with it. I've got my own thoughts, but I do understand where you're coming from, and I do see the logic in it. I've just validated your perspective, but I've let you know that doesn't mean I fully agree with you, but you then warm to me more, because at least I'm not just saying, no, 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 and I disagree, and really avoid getting defensive and aggressive even in your posture. Like I've seen people being forward on the table or crossing arms at or looks in their face that show. Just, and then be patient, be willing to walk away. Too many people are not willing to walk away. So if you go into negotiation with them, the person needing, the person wanting often loses. You can only negotiate from a position of strength.
Mm.
And if you're not willing to walk away, then actually you could lose because you're not willing to walk away. But if I'm willing to walk away and say, no, I appreciate your time, but I can see that this is just not going to work. So thanks. Then there's a strong possibility that they'll come back to me. I mean, the reason I'm giving such a lengthy explanation is not to waste your time. Where you asked what is the most stressful and how did I handle it. So I'm trying
Mm.
to talk through those steps of how, but it was just a long process. We didn't rush it. We used good communication skills. But look, to cut to the chase, the final deal, right, they agreed in 220 million. So they wanted 250, they wanted to offer 180, we came to 220. Everybody's
Mm.
happy. Three years autonomy guarantee, 80% of current employees retained. So we only lost
Mm.
20% of the employees. The founder of the company got given a role as a chief innovation officer for 3 years.
Mm.
And there was performance-based additional compensation. Singapore staff that got negotiated into the agreement. Because what I was worried about was the then just pay them their salary and keep climbing. And if you wanted something more for them, I wanted them to be rewarded. Yeah, so emotional intelligence is crucial in negotiation. Preparation is absolutely essential, and that's what reduces the stress. If you're prepared, you're not stressed. Yeah, and under pressure, you can still come out good. Yeah, I mean, does that answer the question?
Yeah,
Did
100%. That
I go on a bit too much?
no, no, for sure. It's great that like you explained every single aspect and all the basically all the stakeholders as well. Like how with a negotiation this big, it's not just a seller and a buyer. You have to think of all these different people within both companies, as you said, like even investors as well. And basically you have to come up with a solution that everyone has some level of agreement to it, or feel like they've been heard and feel like whatever they've want is given to them to some extent. So yeah, no, I can definitely see how that would have been the most stressful because there's just so many things at play. And I really liked the point about how you were coaching them on EQ and how important that was to ensure that it would make them prepared. But second of all, in the moment, nothing would tank the deal or cause them to say something that would ruin everything. So, super good insight. I really appreciate you sharing that. I wanted to do some quick fire questions now. So, the first one is, what's the earliest dream you remember that stayed with you to this day?
Probably. I grew up in a place called, first and foremost, I don't want to take this long because it's quick fire question, but just very quick one. I grew up in a place called Dumbarton, which is a Glasgow city overspill. So it's lower socio-economic. It's a real rough place, but brave.
Hmm.
Growing up was tough. Let me tell you, I,
Hmm.
it's not nice and icy like Singapore. So the earliest dream that I remember that stayed with me to this day is I dreamed about getting out. I was going
Hmm.
to leave that place. I was going to get out. I was not going to live my life stuck in that. And I used to dream about that all the time. So you're allowed to laugh at me for this one. I used to, even when I was a teenager, dream about just getting a job on a cruise ship. It gets me
Right.
out of there. It gets me overseas.
Hmm.
Silly things like that. But my dreams were to get out, get
Yeah.
overseas and actually make something of my life. And
Right.
it stayed in me to this day because I did it. I got out and I made something of my life. So yeah,
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. The next one is, what's the biggest rejection you've overcome?
I love this one. I love it. I mean, can I mention the company names?
Yeah, for sure. Up to you. It's completely up to you.
Basically, I applied for a job at Hayes in Singapore. So I'd been transferred from Singapore to Dubai at the time. I was in Dubai. I used to travel the world training and coaching other staff. I was desperate to come back to Singapore. I love Singapore. It's all my things. I applied to Hayes for a job and they rejected me. It really hurt hard because I thought I'm absolutely experienced and it's the same industry. Half of the people that you've got working for you, I trained before they left that company and went to you. And I took that rejection really. I didn't take because he emotionally intelligent, but it was a big rejection to try and overcome. It's like, I'm qualified. I trained half of your staff, and you're telling me that I don't meet the criteria for the job. And that rejection really stung. But the reason I love this one is the guy who rejected me, who'll leave his name out of it, literally within 6 months, I was appointed as the director of Hayes in New Zealand. And I was given, so Hayes did hire me in a different country, at 2 levels up from the guy who rejected me. So I became 2 levels senior to the guy. I wasn't good enough to join it. But that was a big rejection because, and I'm sure people experience that. I've got the experience, I've got the qualifications, I can do the job, I've got the credibility. Why are you rejecting me? Why are you sending me an email saying that I don't meet the criteria? Yes, I do. And that rejection can be hard to take. You've got pride, you've got professional integrity, but yeah, that was a big rejection. It sounds small, but to me, it meant something. But it all came good. Within 6 months, I was hired to run an entire country.
Yeah, no, that outcome is awesome. And I think maybe the original role you applied for, it's because you were overqualified. So they were like, you're too good for this job. You have to wait 6 months for the right one.
But been most of my life, one of the things that I've noticed is that's just a generalisation, and I know we should generalise. And this is for the general public out there. This is a message. Don't take job rejection too hard. Quite often it's because the person that rejected you feels threatened by you. So when you apply for a job and they reject you, they feel threatened that you'll outshine them. It can happen any times. So don't take those rejections personally. Just move on and look for the place where you belong. If they're not willing to acknowledge your skills and the value that you can bring, then they're not the place for you. Just move on.
Advice.
And just move on.
Yeah, 100%. So next one is, if you had to live your life following the words of one single quote, what would that quote be?
Okay, probably one of my favourite ones would be, what's the greater risk? Letting go of what people think, or letting go of how I feel, what I believe, and who I am. And that's a quote by Brené Brown, because I'm a bit of a fanboy of Brené Brown. But what's the greater risk? Letting go of what people think, or letting go of how I feel, what I believe.
I love that. Yeah, no, I love that. Like 100%. Like the word risk as well, people always attribute it to what other people think, what the external world will perceive you as. But as you said, if you're going to let go of who you are, that is the biggest risk you're taking. So love that one.
Yeah.
And the final one, if you could reach everyone in the world for 30 seconds, what would you say to them?
One simple truth, right? Connections are greatest strength, right? In a world divided by differences, the most powerful thing that we can do, Braith, is listen, to truly hear each other without judgment, ego, or assumption. Because when we communicate with empathy, we don't just solve problems, we inspire change, we deepen understanding, and we create a ripple effect of kindness. So from today, moving forward, choose connection. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it.
I love that. Thank you so much, Scott. And just as a final thing, how can the listeners get in contact with you, find out a bit more about how they can improve at negotiating, and yeah, just get access or get connected to yourself?
Guys, feel free to look me up and connect with me on LinkedIn. I live on LinkedIn. That's where you'll find me on LinkedIn. So connect me, follow me, DM me, whatever you want. But I'm always happy to help if I can. So you need a bit of advice, tap me up. Yeah. But thanks for having me. I hope I didn't overtalk.
No, it's great. I love the stories. I loved the way you got started with LinkedIn video. So it was a great chat. I really appreciate you taking the time. And for all the listeners out there, if you want to continue making better LinkedIn video or get started making LinkedIn video, feel free to follow and subscribe in this LinkedIn video series that I'm doing, and check out Scott's LinkedIn videos, which, as we discussed, are very awesome. And he's doing it a bit differently to other people out there. So definitely check them out.
See, breathe. If there's one thing I could add, if it helps,
Yeah, for sure.
maybe forgot at the beginning, and this might be common knowledge, but when you're making video, one, because you asked me in the beginning what changed from the first time, one thing I forgot to mention was you need three things to the start. We all know about hooks. Yeah,
Mm,
we all know if you're writing a post, you write it.
yeah,
So if you're doing a video, you need a, right, people scroll quickly. So I've
yeah.
got to say my verbal hook. But here's the challenge, Braith. When I say my verbal hook, you've got 2 to 3 seconds, people lose interest and scroll. To speak my verbal hook is a good hook, but it
Mm,
takes longer than 2 to 3 seconds.
yeah.
So that brings in 2 key things you need to do. You need a visual hook.
Mm,
You'll notice, or you may notice that all of my videos start out visually, make you stop for whatever reason it may be. But a visual hook is absolutely essential when you're making video, because they're still listening to your verbal hook, but the visual hook keeps them
yeah.
engaged. And you can put that text hook up as well. People write text hook, but if you've got a good visual hook, which can be anything, even just bounce a ball or just be like, I think one of the ones I done, I was squashing a little yellow squeezy squash ball. But the point is, if you make a visual hook for your video, it's going to allow people to stay and listen to your verbal hook. So I posted a video yesterday, and I don't know if you've seen it or not. So 5 p.m. Singapore time last night, I woke
Right.
up this morning. It's already on 670,000 impressions. So when I was sleeping, but the reason I'm saying that is not to say, hey, my videos are great. It's to say you can go do it.
Mm,
Anybody listening, just go make the videos, be authentic, be yourself. Don't be all created and all and reading from a teleprompter. Just you know what you're talking about. Go do it. Sorry,
yeah.
I never meant to add that lengthy part on, but I forgot about that. The visual hook is very important.
That's awesome. The visual hook, 100%. As you said, when you say something, it takes longer. You really need that visual hook to keep people just stay on for in that 1 to 2 second mark. And that's how you can ensure they actually listen to what you say. Yeah. And I found similar with my own things as well. Like if I'm adding, not just myself, but I add like little videos pasted on that match what I'm saying as well with the sound, that visual hook really gets people on at the very start. So love that advice. And again, thank you so much for taking the time, Scott. And I'm really keen for people to listen to this and watching your videos as well.
Well, thanks for having me, Brace. It's been a pleasure. Catch up with you soon.
Awesome. See you later.